Check me out.
Mark, is that you?
Everything you thought you knew about Agatha. Forget it. Episode 4 changes everything. From deadly betrayals to a game-changing return, this episode doesn't just raise the stakes, it burns them to the ground. Are you ready to dive into the most explosive moment of the season so far? Hey there, witches and warlocks. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm your go-to for all things Agatha All Along. And let me tell you, Episode 4 is on fire, literally and figuratively. From the mysterious fire trial to Vidal's explosive return, this episode had it all. We got more backstory, some killer music, and of course, those deliciously tense moments between Agatha and her coven that keep us coming back for more. If you thought the first 3 episodes were intense, Episode 4 turns up the heat and delivers some truly jaw-dropping moments. We're going to break it all down, piece by piece, and really dig into the lore, the character development, and everything in between. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with all my latest reviews and theories. You're not going to want to miss what's coming next. So, let's dive in, shall we? Buckle up, because this one's going to be wild. The aftermath of Sharon's death, Agatha's brutal indifference. Let's start with the fallout from Episode 3, where Sharon's head quite literally rolled after that brutal water trial. Most of the coven is in mourning, understandably. But leave it to Agatha to be completely unfazed. She's moved on like Sharon never even existed. You can see how that rubs the rest of the witches the wrong way. But Agatha? She's not here to make friends. She's here to survive. There's this tension building in the coven, and it's clear Agatha's lack of empathy is starting to wear thin on the group. But what makes this moment interesting is how it reflects on Agatha's past. Remember, she's been through this before. Only one witch made it out with her last time, and Sharon was never part of her long-term plan. To Agatha, these witches are expendable. It's cold, but it's also practical. She's calculating, always 3 steps ahead, which makes her so dangerous and fascinating to watch. What's everyone's take on this? Do you think Agatha's completely heartless, or is there a method to her madness? Let's talk about it in the comments. Vidal's return, the Green Witch that stole the show. Now let's get into the biggest moment of the episode, Vidal's long-awaited return. I know I wasn't the only one gasping when she crawled out of the ground in all her chaotic glory. Aubrey Plaza owns this role, bringing that perfect mix of creepy, funny, and downright terrifying. The moment she shows up with that flower for Agatha, you just know things are about to get messy. What's so fascinating about Rio is how she immediately throws the coven into chaos. She's like a wild card. No one knows whether to be terrified of her or worship her. And honestly, that's part of the appeal. The coven's reaction to her is priceless. Half of them are too scared to even look at her, and the other half are sizing her up like they're trying to figure out how dangerous she really is. But it's Agatha's reaction that's the most telling. These two clearly have history, and it's not pretty. Agatha immediately lunges at Rio like she's ready to fight, which begs the question, what went down between them in the past? Agatha is usually so controlled, but Rio gets under her skin in a way that no one else does. The way Agatha refuses to even acknowledge her by name is a power move in itself. It's like she's trying to diminish Rio's power by not giving her the satisfaction of recognition. But Rio? She's playing the long game here, toying with Agatha and the coven in ways that we can't fully understand yet. I've got theories, but I want to hear yours. Drop them in the comments. The summoning, a new Green Witch, or is she? Let's talk about the summoning. The coven deciding to bring in a replacement Green Witch felt almost like a group therapy session gone horribly wrong. Lilia hopes for someone wise and strong. Alice just wants some Advil for the headache Agatha's caused her. And what do they get? Rio freaking Vidal. This moment is layered with tension and humor. 2 things Agatha All Along does so well. But let's be real. Was summoning another witch ever really the solution? These are rogue witches. Rules don't apply to them, and they know it. They're breaking the very laws they're supposed to uphold. But the real twist comes when Rio reveals she's not just a green witch. She's the Green Witch. That shift in her voice from playful to downright demonic sent chills down my spine. And the fact that Agatha knows exactly who Rio is, but won't admit it? Oh man, this is going to be a slow burn of tension that I'm here for. I have a feeling that Rio's power is tied to Agatha's past, and her presence will force Agatha to confront things she's been running from. How does everyone feel about this reveal? Personally, I'm loving the idea of Rio shaking things up for Agatha. Alice's backstory, a generational curse revealed. This episode really gave us some insight into Alice's backstory, and it hit hard. We finally learned the truth about her mother Lorna, who died in that hotel fire while trying to open the road. Lorna's concerts weren't just performances. They were magical rituals meant to connect her coven of fans to the Witch's Road. It's such a tragic and poignant backstory that adds layers to Alice's character. Her reluctance to believe in the road and her frustration with her past make so much more sense now. And that birthmark being part of a generational curse? Brilliant. This show is doing such a great job at intertwining magic with real-world emotional trauma. Alice's curse is a metaphor for the burdens passed down through generations. She carries the weight of her mother's mistakes, her magic, and her death. But the scene where Alice realizes her mother's version of the ballad was a protection spell? That was so powerful. Music as a form of magic, as a way of saving someone you love. That's what this show is all about. I loved the symbolism here, and I can't wait to see how Alice's journey continues. But we need to talk more about that fire trial. The fire trial. Witches versus the monster. Speaking of the fire trial, wow, this might be one of the most visually striking moments in the series so far. The house they enter is this trippy, 70s-inspired architectural masterpiece, and as soon as they see the waxing moon on the door, you know something bad is about to happen. Inside, we get this eerie, haunting vibe that sets the stage perfectly for the trial to come. When they start seeing visions of Alice's past, it's like the house itself is alive, feeding off their fears and memories. Lilia's cryptic warning, "Alice, don't," adds a layer of mystery that keeps us on edge. But the real kicker is when they start playing the cursed record and everything spirals out of control. It's such a creative way to tie Alice's curse back to her mother's music, and the moment the coven is forced to jam out to fight the monster, it was epic. They literally had to play their way out of danger. But here's where things got really intense. Alice's curse manifests as this terrifying winged creature, and she's set on fire while trying to kill it. You could see the pain, the fear, and the determination in her eyes. Her connection to her mother, and the way this curse has haunted her life, all comes to a head in this moment. Alice is finally confronting her trauma head-on, using her mother's ballad to save herself. The symbolism was just chef's kiss. What did you all think? Was this the perfect way for Alice to face her past? Agatha and Teen's bond, a motherly moment. And now let's shift gears to Agatha and Teen. We've seen this odd, protective relationship growing between them, but this episode solidified it. Teen's near-death moment was intense, and Agatha's emotional reaction? Unexpected, to say the least. She's usually so guarded, so emotionally distant, but for the first time, we see her vulnerable, genuinely scared that she might lose him. She even pleads with Rio not to do something. We don't know what, but it's clear that Teen is more important to Agatha than she's willing to admit. It makes you wonder if Agatha sees her own son in Teen. There's definitely a motherly vibe here, especially when she watches over him while he's unconscious. That moment when he wakes up and teases her about the sigil? So sweet and lighthearted, especially in a show that's so dark. Agatha's response is so interesting. She brushes him off, but there's clearly more going on under the surface. It's almost like she's trying to protect him, not just from Rio, but from herself. What's everyone's take on this? Do you think Agatha's hiding her true feelings for Teen? All right, witches and warlocks, that's my breakdown of Agatha All Along, Episode 4. Burn, Baby, Burn. This episode had it all: drama, backstory, magic, and music. I'm loving where the story is going, and it feels like every episode peels back another layer of these complex characters. Agatha is as unpredictable as ever, and with Rio now in the mix, things are about to get even messier. Alice is finally facing her past, and the coven is slowly starting to unravel. What does it all mean for the future? I've got some theories, but I want to hear yours. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like the video, share it with your fellow witches, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into Agatha All Along. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What's your take on Rio? Is Alice finally going to break free from her curse? And what is Agatha hiding about her son? As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay magical, folks.